Hi guys, my name is Girish, your host for today for Back to Basics. Now we have this guest again and again for the third time, and it seems like that she has a reward program for coming on Back to Basics. Her name is Dr. Julie, and we're gonna get Dr. Julie on board. Dr. Julie, thank you for coming on my show today. Again.
Hi, I'm so glad to be back again.
It is crazy that we are meeting again and again and over again. How excited are you to coming back on Back to Basics?
I'm really glad that we have more things to keep discussing and kind of getting the information out there. And I'm very grateful to kind of have this venue to be able to get information to people.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what does Back to Basic mean to you? I know you have answered this several times, but today, what do you think what is Back to Basic for you?
So, since I know what we're going to talk about, I'm going to answer that in that context. And I think going back to basics means looking at how you formulated the things that you do today.
Yeah.
How did it come about that you do things this way and not that way? How did you decide how to approach things? And that is what back to basics, I think, means today.
Yeah. So the topic, thank you for that, Dr. Julie. So today we're going to talk about many different things. We're talking about sleeping and eating habits and enjoying every moment with the kids. So let's talk about the kids for a second here and the moments. So is it really a big issue, Dr. Julie?
So I think it's not even so much an issue of what we're doing or what we're not doing. It's the pressure we're putting on ourselves to be doing it differently. So what a lot of people believe is that if I don't spend every minute that I'm available with my children, I'm somehow missing out, or they're missing out, or it's unfair to them. And even though parents are spending more time with their children now than they ever did, we feel like we spend less and less time.
Yeah.
So, what I encourage people to do often is rather than create this picture perfect moment in your head that no one can ever live up to, what you do is instead work with the moment you have. So, if you plan this amazing trip, I don't know, to a petting zoo for the week for your kid, and they wake up that morning and they're like, nah, I'd just rather watch TV. Instead of being super disappointed and feeling like you're being gypped out of this experience and or how ungrateful are they, really trying to focus on, okay, what can I salvage? What can we still do? Can we have fun doing something else? Rather than getting so focused on this idea that we must enjoy every second that you're not really getting to enjoy any of it.
Yeah, I mean, the way my analogy about spending time with kids is like you go into a restaurant and you're ordering something really awesome, right? And what do? We just take a picture and put it on Instagram. We're not actually enjoying the moment with the food. So I think it's the same concept with the kids. I think we get so busy taking pictures and going out and all, but you're actually not really spending time with the kids. You're just taking a
In their
picture
presence.
in their what's that?
You're being in their presence. It's not the same thing as actually
Exactly,
engaging.
exactly. So is that shameful for us, or is that how the society is now?
Well, I think it becomes a balance, right? There's nothing wrong with remembering things or creating memories, and social media in some ways is how we create memories these days,
Sure,
right? It's the same way we used to create family albums.
that's right.
But it's important that it's not instead of, but in addition to or in the process of, right? So if your kids are playing, you don't want to stop them so you can get the picture perfect moment captured that isn't actually genuine. But if you're in a really special place and you want a picture of that place, there's nothing wrong with that. So I think without going overboard, everything is completely legitimate.
Yeah, it's a shame that how we used to try to spend time with the kids, and now that we are in lockdown mode and well, kind of out of it, but it's still lockdown. But it seems like we still spend less time with kids, even though that they're still at home.
Again, the research kind of shows that isn't actually true.
Okay.
We just feel like we spend less time with the kids because we're constantly on time pressure and we constantly believe that we have to be running and we constantly believe that we have to be doing.
Hmm.
Parents 50, 80 years ago were actually spending less time with their kids and felt just as pressured to spend more time. So it's not about objectively how much time we're spending. It's about how we feel about the time we're spending. Right.
Yeah.
So what I really encourage parents is give yourselves a break and spend quality time over quantity. So it's not how much time are you spending, it's what kind of time are you spending.
Yeah.
Right? It's
So
better to have 2 hours of, reading books together or playing together rather than 7 hours where everyone is, trying to bother each other and just making sure they're all in the same space together.
So is it the same thing as me spending time with kids and them helping me with my landscape work or sitting down watching TV? Is that considered spending time, or is that saying what are we saying here? Are we saying a
That is
different
absolutely spending time together, right? It's any engagement
yeah.
that you're having together.
Yeah.
It's doing things together. It's being able to have those casual conversations. Sometimes the best conversations you have with kids are in the car because they're a captive audience and right, they have nothing else to do but talk to you.
Yeah.
As compared to when they can just kind of walk away and do their thing. So absolutely getting them engaged in what your daily activities are is absolutely a way to spend time with the kids.
So guys, just keep in mind, because I'm a parent too, and I'm pretty sure Dr. Julie is too, that we tend to forget that yes, we don't spend time with kids, but that's not true, is it? Because you sitting down with the kid and watching TV, yes, some people they say that they're not talking to the kids, that is spending time, but that's not true, is there? There are a lot of activities that we both do, meaning myself and my kid, that is spending time, and that's what Dr. Julie's trying to say. Am I right on that, Dr. Julie?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you for that. So regarding about sleep, toddler, uh, sleep habits. Okay, so let me talk about sleep habits. So the toddler, teenage, and elderly. So how different are the sleeping habits between the three?
So little kids need a lot of sleep. Slightly older children actually need less sleep. So your school age children, your, third graders, your fifth graders actually need less sleep. And then teenagers need almost as much sleep as toddlers do. And then as people age, they tend to need less sleep, but actually it's a misnomer about you need 8 hours, you need 7 hours. You need whatever your body can produce and what you comfortably need, right? Sleep is a biological phenomenon. So just like not everybody needs the same number of calories in a day, it depends on their activity level, it depends on their biology. It's the same exact thing with sleep. Not everybody needs the same amount of sleep in a day.
So you're saying between you and me, if I have a 5 hour sleep and you have eight, that does not mean that I'm
You're
gonna
any more tired than I am.
exactly.
Because your body may only be able to produce 5 hours of sleep and you're feeling rested and you're having good quality sleep. My body may be able to produce 10 hours of sleep and every morning I'm waking up to an alarm barely opening my eyes,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
actually happens to be true.
Okay, but that's a separate topic altogether. That's a separate topic altogether. But if does it really mean by oversleeping? What does that mean when people they say oversleeping and they get overly tired when they wake up?
So oversleeping isn't, it's kind of, right, like it's not even like overeating, right? Because you really can force yourself to eat more. You can't force your body to sleep more than it needs, right? It's like when people say, I'm going to make myself go to sleep. Well, how exactly are you going to go do that? What, mechanism do you have for making that happen? So it's not really about you doing anything. It's you responding to your body, right? So what people don't make sleep up by sleeping longer. People make up sleep by sleeping deeper.
But then with
So,
that example, I guess I'll just pick up a book and then make myself go to sleep.
well, sure, but if your body wasn't tired, you couldn't,
Hmm.
right? So what you're doing is you're creating, so your body has what's called a sleep drive and a wake drive. And as you go through the day, your wake drive declines, your sleep drive builds, right? So once you've built sleep drive, you will lay down, you close your eyes, you'll fall asleep, right? If you woke up a half hour ago, you could lay down with that same book and not go to sleep, right? So it's not the book that's making you go to sleep. It's the presenting the opportunity for your sleep drive to take over.
Yeah, so I think it might be a different topic altogether of the book and the TV and making you go to sleep. I think it's more of making you tired, not go to sleep.
Well, actually, I can comment on that kind of quickly. Because what people believe is they actually can make themselves go to sleep. So people have sleep problems. If you ask them what they do to go to sleep, they will give you a 10-minute long ritual about every step they take. If you ask people who don't have sleep problems what they do to go to sleep, they won't even understand your question. They say, I go to sleep,
Yeah, yeah,
right? Um, so what you're really doing is calming down, right? So reading a book is part of a nighttime ritual of calming down.
yeah,
That's not the same thing as making yourself go to sleep,
yeah.
right? What you're actually should not do, and this is kind of why I wanted to make this comment, is do things in bed. And this only applies if you have sleep problems. If you don't have sleep problems, you can do whatever you want. But if you have sleep problems, don't do things in bed other than sleeping.
Mm,
Because what you're doing is you're teaching your body that this is where I watch TV, this is where I eat, this is where I read, this is where I do all sorts of things.
mm.
And then it's called the light switch effect. You get into bed and all of a sudden you're awake,
Yeah,
right? Because your
yeah.
body says, oh, it's time to watch TV instead of saying, oh, it's time to sleep. And so
So
the first treatment for sleep problems is actually get out of your bed and stop doing things in bed other than sleeping.
yeah, so what did we learn here? We learn here that toddler, teenager, and elderly, that does not mean that they get less sleep when you get older. It actually means when your body actually needs more sleep or less sleep. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think the rumors are that the older that you get, the less sleep that you get, and earlier you wake up, but that's not true.
It
Um,
very much is person specific. As people age, they tend to need less sleep,
yeah,
but that is again completely person specific. On
yeah.
average, that is true,
Mm.
but that is over a much longer period than people think. And there's no cutoff. It's not like at 50 I need this many hours, and at 60 I need that many hours.
Yeah, exactly. Some people they actually think, guys, just listen here, that when elderly they wake up early, let's say 5, 6 o'clock, why don't you ask them what time they slept? Because just like what Dr. Julie said, it could be that's the time when
When
the
their
body
body wakes.
wakes up, you know? So think about that for a second. So that's what it is, right, Dr. Julie?
Right,
Yeah,
and they may be going to sleep at 10, right? So they may be getting 7 hours of sleep. They just may be getting it 10 to 5.
exactly. Exactly.
Right? And if that's how much sleep they need, then and that's the right time for them, then why push themselves later than they're comfortable and wake up any later than they would like?
Yeah, yeah. So I think it's just the body and nothing else. Regarding about eating habits, is that a big issue? I mean, eating habits. I mean, I thought the schools are stopping all the junk food, and we're all nutrition savvy nowadays, as everyone is all about good diet, bad diet, and all that. Is that a big issue nowadays, Dr. Julie?
So it is definitely a big issue, and it's almost a big issue because of all the things you said. Not the things you said are part of the problem, not necessarily part of the solution.
Okay.
So yes, people are more conscientious about eating habits.
Mm-hmm.
However, there's a difference between knowing something and doing something.
Okay.
People still very much do not necessarily like to do things about their diets. They just want to talk about them,
Yeah.
right? So, for example, it's probably something that when you go to the supermarket, you're supposed to stay on the outside of the supermarket, right? Because your produce, your meats, your dairies are all on the outside. Your processed foods are on the inside,
Mm-hmm.
right? So knowing that, I bet you've been in the middle aisles of the supermarket anyway, right? It's not like you didn't know that the better foods were outside,
Mm.
right? So even though people know what would be optimal, then doesn't mean that they always do that. The second thing is we almost put such heavy emphasis on specific foods without really understanding that it's all about life habits, right? So there is no good food or bad food, right? There is, and I think this is a Sesame Street quote that I'm stealing, but there is all the time food and sometimes foods, right? So cake, there's nothing wrong with cake. You should just probably not make it the staple of your diet, right? Because it's not going to supply you with the nutrients you need,
Mm-hmm.
right? But similarly, you shouldn't make, I don't know, cucumbers the exclusively staple of your diet because you don't need that much cucumbers either,
Yeah.
right? And it's not that one is good and one is bad. It's just how much of which one would you need in your diet to be healthy.
So does that mean that we should take small quantities of everything to get your good nutrition in your body?
So you want to have a varied diet, And when I say diet, I mean the stuff you eat, not the way we use the word diet to mean restricting food.
Yeah.
Generally, I don't advise dieting. I advise life changes, right? So, for example, if I am used to eating, if I'm unhappy with my current health level and weight, right? And I'm looking to change that. Instead of going on a diet, what I might recommend to somebody is if they're serving their dinners family style to the family where everybody kind of takes as much as they want, well, serve it as portions, right? And once you're done with your portion, you're done, right? Because we eat with our eyes. So if I keep seeing food, I'm going to keep eating the food, especially if it's great food,
Yeah.
right? The other thing is don't judge yourself for every single thing you do. So if you have really wanted a cookie today, enjoy your cookie, right? If you're going to eat it anyway, you might as well enjoy it without making yourself feel guilty about it,
Hmm.
right? I what I really like people to focus on is living healthy lives and identifying for themselves what that means to them and how to make that possible. So it is probably unlikely that you will never touch ice cream again.
So,
It's probably
so
unnecessary.
does that mean that, let's say I get a cookie or an ice cream, but then I don't do any naughty stuff later on?
Well, I want you to change that idea of the not naughty stuff, right? It's just, this is what I really wanted. And so that's why I really had it. I didn't have it because it was in the house. I didn't have it because I must have cookies every day. I had it because I really wanted a cookie and I really enjoyed my cookie. And then if later I will make decisions to counteract the fact that I've already had some kind of empty
But
sugars
but but
today.
with that cookie example, that's a lot of sugar in my body to
Right. So I
enjoy.
probably don't want need any. So my body probably doesn't need any more sugar today. So
Yeah.
I'm going to give my body what else it needs.
Right.
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 So trying to think of it as a holistic body experience rather than good cookie, bad cookie.
Hmm. So I think what we're trying to say is don't do diet, do nutrition. I think
And do
that's
life changes, right?
and do life
Change
changes.
the life habits rather than changing how you shop, changing what kind of food is in your house, changing how the family eats rather than specifically, I only eat orange foods today or whatever is
Hmm.
the fad diet of the week.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I think the main focus is supposed to be behavior of how you eat,
Yep.
behavior of how you sleep, and and I guess behavior of how to have
Behave at
good
home.
with the kids. And I think
Absolutely.
that's your. I
Right.
think
That's the theme of the day.
that's the theme of the day. Actually, the theme of the day should be called mindset, because you need to have your mindset set for a certain food that you want to eat, sleep, and spending time with quality moment with kids and spouses and everyone else.
Hmm.
So I think that's very thoughtful of that. So regarding obese is a big issue. So how do you help a person with that problem?
Same way. We identify what behaviors are currently leading them to eat in a way that isn't getting them to their goal, right?
Yeah,
It's first figuring out what their goal is.
yeah,
And if their goal is to be of a different weight, then we figure out what is the behavior that is getting them to the weight they need. We track the things they're doing right now, and then you put in changes to lead to different behavior, right?
yeah,
We
yeah,
first identify the behavior and then we change it.
yeah, yeah. Well, thank you, Dr. Julie, for today. I know that you are on a time crunch and everything else, but any last words before we let you go today?
I'd like to encourage everyone to be cognizant of what they do and how they got to be doing what they do and believe that they can change the things that will make them healthier and happier.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Julie, for coming on my show and making this day brighter. And it seems like I have to send you a rewards program of you coming here for the third time.
Little
Uh,
punch card.
a punch card. I think I'll send you a punch card, electronic punch card. But thank you again for coming on my show.
Thank you for having me again.
Thank you. So, guys, we spoke with Dr. Julie. We spoke about the sleeping habits, the eating habits, the spending time moments with the kids. It seems like not a lot of people knew that they were actually spending time with the kids. No one actually knew about the sleeping habits that the body actually needs. It's not about what time and how long it should be when you get older. None of that stuff. It's all about the body. And the third thing is all about eating habits. You gotta indulge on certain things, but you gotta balance out throughout your life. That's what it is. And here's a quote of the day from Back to Basics today. And the quote of the day is, "It's up to you today to start making healthy choices. Not choices that are just healthy for your body, but healthy for your mind." So guys, as usual, as always, remember, everything in life goes back to basics, and that's what we did today, guys. Guys, take care, God bless, see you next week, and keep on subscribing and commenting, good or bad, either way. It will make my show strong day by day. Back to Basics is not going anywhere. It is here to stay. Guys, take care, God bless, see you next week. Next week's episode on Back to Basics.
On your caregiver, who your caregiver was, and that's how these attachment styles get developed. They can change over time, but understanding attachment styles helped me to stay separate from, my culture, my religious beliefs, or any of those things, like putting that onto a person. So it keeps me separated, because I know my attachment style, and it's just getting to know that person's attachment style that helps me to understand them better and help them to understand themselves better, know what their triggers are.